This is Sky Blues Extra.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sky Blues Extra Live. After what was a pretty dismal performance and probably a better result more than anything. Joining me this evening, Ross. Ross, good to see you. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you, Gino. Are you well?
I'm very well, thanks. Obviously, I'm a little annoyed. It's probably a game. Is your phone going off there, by the way, mate?
Where was it? There we are.
There's a lot of vibration.
There's a lot of people getting in touch, you see.
Exactly, yeah. Just comments flooding in. Yeah, honestly, if you've got anything to say, please get some comments in. We'll discuss those as we go along. But on that performance, Ross, it's kind of epitomises the season, doesn't it? You know, full of mistakes, a little bit of endeavour. You know, we've got a little bit of ascendancy at some point in the game, a bit of control, but no end product. And you know, that first half really was poor from a Sky Blues point of view, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, we were bright for 5-10 minutes, but that's not enough to win football matches. And once Blackburn, I mean, I actually chose to listen. I don't know if you did, to Blackburn commentary on iFollow rather than just. That. And they're actually quite good. I mean, but I honestly, they said Mowbray switched formation after about 10 minutes, and they just adapted. We couldn't do anything. I thought that first half was as bad as I've seen. I thought it was really poor. And as soon as they scored, I thought, what's the point? Yeah,
I lost my head after that first half time. I completely lost my head. You know, just chuntering away on Twitter like the majority were, but. It really frustrates me because we had so much control in that first 15 minutes, and you think, all right, okay, this is a really, really good start. Now, what can we capitalize on from this? And we just didn't show any real intent of scoring.
No, but you know exactly. We don't look like scoring, even if we're having a positive spell. And we don't capitalize. We don't keep the pressure up. After that first 10 minutes, when did we have a sustained attack at all in the game? I can't remember one period. Whereas Blackburn, I felt like they were going to score every time they came forward. I really did. And this is a team who've lost 5 games in a row, and they just carved us open. I'm not sure about the system. I think I'm done with this 5 at the back. I really am. I don't think it helps us going forward. And I think defensively, we look better when Ostergaard got sent off and we went to a 4 at the back.
Yeah.
And we've been screaming for weeks to play a back 4. I just think every time they just seem to slice through us, and I was really excited. I said, I think with you a couple of weeks ago, I'd love to see Matty James and Kelly in midfield, and we'll get onto the starting lineup. But it was just passive again in midfield. Yeah. I thought we were really passive, and I think it's really disappointing. Much better result than the performance.
I agree with you when you say there about we look more comfortable with 4 at the back towards the end. I saw him trying to bring Rose on. I was like, why? I mean, Adam Armstrong has been on his own all game. If those 2 guys can't deal with him, then we've got a massive issue. So why do we need to go to 3, at least with another man in midfield? If we get the opportunity to go forward, we've got an extra man there to go with an attack. I know we're down to 10 men, and we're kind of like every point is a must at the moment, but we still need to show intent, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. And look, the sending off was quite late in the game. Even before that, I was like, you grab the equaliser. If that was the other way around, you'd be thinking, oh, we'd be on the ropes. Do you know what I mean? If we took the lead and Blackburn equalised, then suddenly you'd expect them to be pushing. When did we go for the winner? I mean, we somehow messed up a 2-on-1. And
that's criminal, wasn't it? That?
Dino, never is that not going in against us. Like if that's Armstrong and Bradley Dack 2-on-1 against Fads, there is no way they're not scoring, or at least getting a good shot on. Somehow we messed that up, and I just thought that epitomised us completely.
Yeah, there's no confidence from Guy Okerez. I can say his name now, by the way. Guy Okerez. I've been practicing it all week. I had nothing else to do. So he has to play the ball pretty much first time to Biamu, and that's it. It's job done. He's through on goal. Yeah. There's no, and I trust Max Biamu to at least make the keeper work in that position. And it was just that, like you say, epitomises everything about us. We're just so toothless in attack. It's just
so
annoying.
Toothless, and that is my biggest concern. Defensively, it concerns me, but looking like we're scoring enough goals, I just don't see it. Like the way I look at it is today, Blackburn, they're low on confidence, probably the lowest they've been all season. Yeah, in the first half, it could have been 3-0. It should have been 3-0, and they could have really, in the second half, I was thinking, they look dangerous. They actually they go forward and they look like they're going to score. I mean, we got that goal and I couldn't even believe it. I was sort of just numb. And then I'm thinking, go on then, let's have a go at them. And actually, no, Blackburn just responded, and their commentators were very, very harsh on them. But I thought we didn't look like winning the game, and it didn't look like we tried to win the game, even with 11 men on the pitch.
Well, that's our opinion so far on proceedings this afternoon. Obviously, we'll go into a little bit more detail in regards to the stats, table results today, the lineup from the Sky Blues as well. But let's get the opinion of one of our first callers. Mark's waiting in the wings. Good to have you with us, Mark. How are you? How are you,
good, good, thanks. Yeah.
What's your opinion on today? Little toothless, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a point game though overall. Yes, the performance certainly. I agree with what you say. I think up front we do look a bit toothless. I think Biamu does work. Gives 100% every game. You can never criticise him for effort. I thought Walker was a bit off the pace today. Wasn't massively surprised he was sub. I think that is a problem though up front. Unfortunately, Matthew James came to the rescue with a good goal. I'm glad it fell to him and not someone like Shipley, because Shipley had a similar chance the first half and he put it into the stand. So I think it's a good result overall. I think Blackburn are a decent mid-table team, and I agree with what you said in the first half. I think first half the warning signs were there before the first goal. There was a couple of times where Ostergaard actually stopped a tap-in for Brereton, I think it was. We could see a very, very poor goal. I thought McCullum first half was off the pace. Their right wing back was, getting past him with every time, like knife through butter. Hyam was poor first half, but was better second half in fairness. But to be honest with you, I think it's a game we all sat at the start and thought, well, low in confidence. This is a great opportunity to get 3 points. But having watched that 90 minutes today, I think it was a good point in the end. So I'm unhappy, but I'm not unhappy. So
let's talk about the goal conceded then, because obviously it was criminal. Ball over the top, McCallum 10 yards further than where he should be, and Hyam, you just can't make those mistakes at this level, can you?
No, he's made. To be honest with you, Dean, I think he's made quite a few mistakes this season. He started off well, but he's had quite a few disappointing games. I think, obviously, now next game, Ostergaard's not going to be playing, so I would hope that he does revert back to 4 at the back. I think we are a better team at 4 at the back. I definitely agree with what you say. I just feel Hyam's form is just patchy, just a bit inconsistent for me.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a better second half. I think looking at the game overall, I just felt we were hanging on a little bit towards the end. And what Blackburn were quite good at is they pick a pass really well. They get the ball and they seem to find space. Their movement's really good. When we had the ball, it's just a quick lump up to Biamu, and we hope that if he holds it up or flicks on, someone will come at the end of it. And I think that's kind of how we were playing second half.
A lot of people are questioning Hyam's position in the squad, in the team at the moment. I think people forget that this is a guy who's come up with us from League 2 to League 1. Hasn't got any experience at this level. I know it's only this season, but it's a very different season to any other. Is it a case of perseverance with someone like Dom Hyam, and at the end we'll get a good player out of him?
Yeah, I think he'll play next game against Middlesbrough midweek. I don't see him being dropped, and I'll defend him on the second half. I thought second half he actually had a better half overall. Yeah. So I'm not going to come on here and completely slate him or that. I just felt he was at fault, but it wasn't just him though. I think McCullum was at fault. I thought he was poor. Yeah. He was poor for that goal. To be honest, I thought McCullum had a game in 2 halves. If you look through a 90, I thought first half he wasn't at the races, but second half, in fairness, he did create the goal. So, but I feel like McCullum, personally speaking, if I was to make a decision at the end of the season with him, I think I wouldn't keep him personally. I just don't think he's good enough at Championship level, in my opinion. I'd say, there you go, Norwich, you can have him back. That's just my view. Obviously he's got a decent long throw, and he sets up opportunities like that. I think the only slight complaint about the referee today is I felt there. I mean, I can understand Ostergaard's second yellow.
Yeah.
That was a blatant foul. The first one I wasn't sure about because he looked like he got stamped.
He did
Yeah,
get stamped on. That was a disgrace. That was a disgrace. I mean, the way he reacted, you could see it. Do you know what I mean? And actually,
I thought it was a harsh decision by the referee. I didn't understand that because all I saw of that was Ostergaard's got up and he's had a moan, and that was about it. There wasn't really a lot else I could see. I don't see replays of it. I didn't see a lot else wrong, and he got a yellow card for it. And I have to question why was he yellow carded for that? I think the second one, yes, that's a. But you know what frustrated me more was that a few minutes later, I think it was Barry Douglas. I think the Blackburn player.
Oh yeah, he should have been off. Should have been off.
I think it was on O'Hare, right in front of the dugouts, and you think, how's that not? That was exactly the same issue as yellow as Ostergaard, and nothing got done. And you think, where's the consistency?
We've been asking that all season, though, haven't we?
I'm an ex-referee, so I know I've refereed, obviously not championship level, obviously, but I've refereed on park level, and it's just a yellow card all day long.
Yeah, it's just. But the frustrating thing I find is, and we've said it a few times, haven't we, Dino, about referees this year?
Mm-hmm.
But we're not playing good enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're almost like clutching at the straws for the referee to try and be like, even take away the referee's decisions. We didn't do enough to win the game. And that's what's really frustrating. And it's like, I agree. I thought there were some really poor decisions second half, but we just didn't do enough to win the game, did we, Mark, today? Even with 11 men.
Yeah, I think the problem we've got is we're not ruthless enough in front of goal. I mean, okay, we had a couple of half chances first half. I mean, Shipley wasn't an easy one, but, better teams, that would be kind of back of the net. You got, or at least make the keeper work, not going row M or N or whatever. But I think it is a problem. It's been a problem all season, though. I think we just, we've got a lot of players who graft and are hard workers, and I can't criticise the effort. And I think that's the minimum we expect as fans is the effort. The effort's there. I just think the quality isn't. The one good thing I'm hoping for is when hopefully Godden might come back at some point. I think that's the one thing we've got to sort of hope on as fans.
Well, fingers crossed he's back soon. Mark, thanks very much for your input as always on SkyBluesExtra. Good to have you with us again. It's very frustrating, and like you say, Ross, we're clutching at straws. We're now looking at other teams. Are they slipping up? Ref's not doing his job and stuff like this. I'd rather us be in control of our own destiny.
And we've got the opportunity to do that, Dino. Do you know what I mean? Like we're not in the bottom three. We can go out there and win matches. And the problem, and I thought Mark made a great point, that Shipley chance, for example, in another team who are creating chances on a regular basis, you'd go, oh, okay, good opportunity. Let's keep going. However, we get that is a premium chance for us.
Yeah.
Chances are at an absolute premium. So we miss that. And I'm thinking, I don't know if we're going to get as good a chance or better. Yeah. And it's and that's the thing with Blackburn. Even on this bad run, that you always think they can score goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like obviously then we did get the goal, but I just feel like even scoring goals, we're sort of clutching at straws. Like Brentford penalty, and then we got that other goal, but they sort of gifted it us. We took advantage. Full credit, but it's like in other games we've not scored and we've not really looked like scoring, and that's my biggest concern. And like you say, that the goals we're giving away are so easy, far too easy. Like
at least half of them this year have just been through our own stupid mistakes.
And I'm not sure what causes that. I mean that like Jaime sort of really, and it was weird because then it sort of bounced past Fads, and he just like watched it go past him to fall straight to that Brereton who scored. I'm thinking, why are you not trying to swipe and clear it? We just do not get that against us. Do you know what I mean? Other teams are not making those silly mistakes. Even the teams below us, I think teams are having to work hard to score against them. The likes of Rotherham, they make it difficult. Whereas I think we're a bit of a soft touch sometimes.
Yeah, let's fly through some comments. Yeah, Skyblue Army, if you've got anything to say on today's game or anything you want us to talk about, send us a comment and we'll discuss it live on air. Let's just go through some of them now. Glenn, Leo, officials were awful once again. Yeah, I think the less said about officiating. I don't know if did you see the decision in the Brighton game?
I haven't. No, I haven't, mate.
Oh, that is just a farce. If you get the chance to have a look, I think Sky Sports Football tweeted out all 4 minutes of it. Absolute nonsense.
I'll have a look after this.
VAR again, getting involved as you can imagine. Danny, Ostergaard nearly cost us a point with his first yellow. What was he thinking? I mean, that first yellow for me is very, very harsh. I mean, he's the one who got stamped on, and he's obviously retaliated. And we know you can't retaliate and put hands on players and stuff, but at the end of the day, he's been stamped on. Of course, you're going to retaliate.
Do you know what? That's another example of us just not being smart. Like, I think if that's the other way around, he would like go down and make a meal of it on the floor. He actually, he's a tough guy. He stood up, jumped up, and goes to him. So to the referee, it's like, oh, Ostergaard's instigated something out of nothing. Whereas I guarantee you, if that was the other way around, the Blackburn dude would be holding his leg. You'd think that had been fallen off. Do you know what I mean? And he'd probably get someone booked. And I just feel like we're not smart. And then the second yellow, I mean, do you know what I thought today, Dino? I thought the fouls we gave away, they were ill-disciplined. I mean, Hamer was trying to drag Bradley Dack down for no reason. I'm thinking we talked about
nowhere as well there.
We talked about it last week. There's smart fouls at the right time, and then there's just ill-discipline, giving them opportunities to put balls in the box. Yeah,
it's all too often the same things we're saying, like broken records, to be honest.
I feel like one.
Glenn thinks there's going to be no 5 at the back midweek, thank God. Mark thinks it was better by McCallum today, but Ostergaard and Hyam need a butt kicking. Definitely. I mean, you can't make those mistakes and get away with it. Russ is saying that Oster got stamped on. Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious for everybody. Russ is saying that McCallum got done every single time. Yep, something we brought up. He was. I put the comment out at half time. I reckon he was 10 yards ahead of anybody else from the midfield and the defensive line in that first half. And when you're that far ahead, teams like Blackburn have got a little bit of quality there to get the ball in behind, and that showed with the goal. He was in no man's land. He was never going to get back and be able to defend that.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is then, so you'd almost think in that situation, if he's a bit high up, you'd like to think that we're going to gain something attacking from it. But when did we? Apart from the first 10 minutes when we did 1 or 2 passes, then we lost our way, and then we it's like he's in no man's land, isn't it? Really.
And if he goes so far ahead, someone needs to cover that position when we're going backwards. And effectively, that's Shipley's role. If he's on the left-hand side of the free in midfield, he has to cover any forward run that the wing back makes. Shipley never, went with a man the whole game today. Absolutely in no man's land. He's out of his depth in this division, I'm afraid, for me. He definitely seems to be, I feel like one is definitely not going to be with us next year on this journey if we stay in this division. I just don't think he's got the nous as a championship player. I don't know what your thoughts on Jordan Shipley are.
Well, I was surprised he was starting today. I'm just not sure how many players now in this division this system is actually bringing the best out of. Like, of all our centre backs, which ones would you say in a back 5 look better than they do in a back 4? I'd argue maybe only Fads because of the pace thing and having 2 other side. I think Hyam looks better in a 4. I think Ostergaard looks better in a 4. I mean, and you go through the team, and Shipley's role today, what was his role? I just wasn't quite sure I wasn't even sure what he was supposed to be doing. Do you know what I mean?
You make a good point about the defence there. If you play 3 at the back, one of them has got to be comfortable with bringing the ball out, because the other 2 create space for that extra defender to bring the ball out, and none of them are comfortable with the ball at their feet. Definitely not. They panic. There's so much panic.
Fads did it. He did it in the first half. He runs out, heavy touch, then did a terrible pass, and then they were in a goal. And I'm thinking, we're better. We're so good at creating opportunities for other teams, just not ourselves. I'm just like, what am I watching? But I just think not many. I think Hyam, Ostergaard, I think they played in a back 4. I can't remember who it was against, and I thought really, really good. I can't remember a time this season where we've said, "Oh, we played a back 4 and we were poor today," like really poor, because they were actually just focusing on defending rather than doing too much with the ball.
Absolutely. 4 points from the last 3 isn't bad. Yeah, it's a good return, especially after that Brentford win, obviously. But, you feel like today there was a kind of a missed opportunity. And to an extent, Wednesday night was a missed opportunity as well.
I spoke to a few friends, and I felt Wednesday was a massive opportunity. Like, I don't care where teams are in the league. I don't care. Look who you're playing in front of you. Swansea were poor. Blackburn were there for the taking today. I mean, do people think that when we play Rotherham and it's a 6-pointer, I think that's going to be a harder game than Wednesday night? Because Rotherham are going to be fighting, and it's literally pound for pound, So I feel that these games against teams higher up in the league, if they're not on it, we have to try and capitalise.
Let's get a couple more comments just before we get Glenn in on the show. Rick the Gun, number 2, realistic expectations, please, Sky Blue Army. A fight for survival was always on the cards. I don't think we're under no illusions, especially here on Sky Blues Extra Live. We're totally in that corner that, you know, it was always going to be, if we can be one position above the relegation zone this year, it would be an amazing season.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we all said that, didn't we? We said if we survive on the last day, we'll take it. Do you know what I mean? Finishing 21st. It's just on this journey. There's just some games where I'm just thinking, am I seeing enough for us to score goals? Like if we were scoring loads of goals, I'd be thinking at least we can score. Like I think we can cause teams problems. I'm sat here sort of going, what problems are we causing? Just ourselves, one, you know.
Yeah. Let's get Glenn in. Always got a good opinion on Sky Blues Extra Live. Glenn, good to have you with us again, my friend. What's your thoughts on that? A good point in the end?
Good point. Same old story as pretty much the games we haven't won recently, that we've been the architects of our own downfall again. It's Sunday League defending for the goal, which you're right. We've got several opportunities to clear the ball and we don't do it, and we give them a foothold into the game, which I think the plan from Robbins was not to give them a foothold into the game by going a bit more defensive and taking O'Hare and Hamer out and be solid, stay in the game, and hopefully that the bench would come on and get us a result. And if you defend like that, then your game plan goes out the window, basically.
Was you surprised to see Hamer and O'Hare on the bench to begin today?
I wasn't surprised. I just wouldn't have gone Shipley. I think if you're going to play that system, I think you play Sheaf. And you go for the more defensively minded option. I think Shipley, like you guys have said, in a free in midfield, he's just game. I was going to say game awareness, but that's probably harsh. I just think he doesn't know the role well enough.
Yeah,
I think last season he had a role in the team and he knew what his role was, and I think that got the best out of him. I think there's too many players at the moment who don't seem to know their role a bit, and he's kind of shoehorning people into positions. So I think that was a probably game for a Jamie Allen or Sheaf today. It wasn't a game for Shipley, not in the role he played him anyway.
I'm just going to bring up the table as well, Glenn, while you're on. It's just been updated. Obviously now 6 points clear of the drop zone with Rotherham having those 2 games in hand. You know, it's, you know, more teams are still being dragged into it. I don't think, you know, Blackburn, the likes of Blackburn and Luton are out of this by any stretch of the imagination at the moment. But you feel another 2 points today, and, you know, it could have been comfortable going into that big run of fixtures.
Yeah, I mean, I think I tweeted something with 30 minutes when the results were as they were, saying it could be like a season-defining moment if we'd nicked a result. I mean, obviously, Blue scored 2 in whatever to get them back in 2 minutes, but you're going to get results like that on it. It's a good point if we go unbeaten in the next 2 games. Basically, we've got to try and get 4 points from the next 2 games minimum, because you don't want to be going. You want Rotherham when we play Rotherham. You want it so it's a must-win game for them. So they've got to come at us, and they're going to leave space. They've got to win the game, because I think that will play a bit into our hands. If it becomes into a game where we can't afford to lose or we've got to win it, then I don't really want to go Rotherham away, because they are a bit of a bogey side against us. But I just think it's the theme that you guys, and I've probably said all season, it's the lack of ambition. Wednesday night, we didn't really go for it. Today, we've been negative. The subs haven't really worked. I agree with you guys. I think we're better. I'd rather play 4-4-2, and everyone knows the roles. I think this whole thing.
That's more of a Mike Bassett than a Goran Eriksson formation.
I just think the 3 at the back worked last year, because I don't think there's that many teams in League One who played 1 up top, and those that did play, like it or play 3 at the back on it, and I think it worked because we'd always have the spare man, and we kind of worked it well. I think the problem is this season, a lot of teams don't play 2 up top, they play 1 up top, and we're left with 2 spare men at the back and our defenders aren't good enough on the ball. Michael Rose is our probably best player on the ball, and he doesn't play. And he's not in the side at the moment. And I think that kind of shows. Ostergaard's come in, he's good. I think he's very unlucky today. Yeah. But I think Armstrong's for the second one. He's gone into him and he's bought it, and he scored him. But I think he's definitely got stamped on. I think it didn't help him that he mouthed off at the ref about a free kick earlier, and I think then he's got another go at the ref, and that's why the refs booked him. But I just think hopefully we'll go to the back four and just be a bit more solid and convincing on it. But I think if you're gonna try and be defensive, then you go the full hog and you play Sheaf. You don't try and shoehorn people into positions that you're not going to get the best out of them. And I do worry about Walker. I think he is just a goal scorer. I think he's got a bit like Stern John. I think if the ball's in the box,
he's definitely not the guy who's going to chase around and pick up lost balls and chase down lost causes and stuff like that. He's not that type of player, I don't think.
But like I say, when we had McNulty had both that sides to his game. He would work, and he was a good finisher, and that's why him and Max probably dovetailed. I think we kind of got under the illusion at the start that him and Max would work as well, and I don't think they do work as well as I thought they would, because I don't think Walker does the chasing round on it. I think he's very much ball in the box and I'll do my stuff, and then Max is doing a lot of the donkey work when he's half fit, which isn't ideal.
What do you think Bakayoko's sitting there thinking after, he's seen Victor come in during the January window, and, he's ahead of them in the pecking order. Aloni is ahead of you in the pecking order. What do you think he's sitting there thinking?
I think with Bakayoko is, you know what you're going to get, and when he's good for us, he's decent. And I think he's won this season. I think it's not helped that he's not been able to like get 3 or 4 under 23 games under his belt to get himself into some form. He's been like always on the fringe, much like Papaga's been. Like Papaga had the spell where he was on the bench, not doing anything. I would have probably been more tempted to stick him on ahead of Gorkarez today, just because him and do work well, and he's always and he's probably got a bit more physicality with their defenders, especially the lad Braithwaite, who I thought was quite poor today, that he could probably just out-muscle him and do something with it. I'm frustrated because I think they were there for the taking today, and we've missed an opportunity. And there's a few times this season where we've had them there for the taking, and we've not done it. Derby away for one, we shouldn't have gone away with only a point from that. And that's the worry that it's going to come back and bite us, unfortunately.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Glenn, it feels like we're putting all our eggs in the basket of the must-win games. And like Swansea from Wednesday night, it was like, well, we're not expected to win. Same really today. And it's like we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves in these big 6-pointers which are coming up. If we don't pick up the results, we're in big trouble if we're not going to go and try and win these games.
I've got an awful feeling that Robbins is playing it that he'll just try and cobble as many draws as he can to the last 10 games of the season, and he's putting all his eggs in the Matty Godden basket, that Matty Godden is going to be the saviour. And that is a really, really big gamble, given the injury that he's got. And my dad's had the same injury, and he did it like a year ago, and he's still not right with it. So if you're putting your eggs on Matty Godden, he's going to come back and play all those 10 games. That is a mega, mega risk on it. And I think he just keeps on and on about Godden. And that to me is Godden isn't here. You focus on the players that you've got. And I listened to another podcast that was with Andy Morrell last week, and he was talking about management, and he said, you've not got to worry about the players that are playing, it's the players that aren't playing. And if he keeps going on about Matty Godden this, Matty Godden that, what's it do to Gorkarez's morale? What does it do to Max's morale? What does it do to Walker's morale? Bakayoko's, that he's talking about a player who ain't even fit at the moment.
No.
On it. And that's the thing on it. And it's not like Jody Jones, who's miles away and he's talking about it, but he just keeps on and on about Godden. And to be fair, it does my nut in about it. And I just think that's the problem with him. He's focusing on that as Godden's going to be our knight in shining armour. And the problem is, by that time, we could be 3 points adrift in the bottom three if we don't pick up results in the next 2 games. And we've got to find that little bit of spark that we had and we showed against Brentford, because just hoofing it up front all the time, we're a better side than that. And I just think we've lost what sort of side we are. I think we're not a direct team, and we've lost the passing. And I think he's almost thrown what we were good at last season out the window, and it's not really working. And if you're going to just stick it on teams, you'd be better playing 4-4-2 and just getting balls in the bottom, fingers and stuff on it. So I don't know.
Well, let's hope we don't put all our eggs in the Godden basket and we can make light work of it over the next few games. Glenn, as always,
Glenn.
thanks for your comments on SkyBluesExtra Live.
Cheers,
Good to have you with us, mate. Thanks. Have a
Glenn.
good evening. But he is right. It's scary when you kind of think we're pinning our hopes, potentially on a guy who's not even in, the squad at the moment. Let's be honest. But we do have other quality there that should be coming to the front and take us away from this position. We've talked how many opportunities have we had this year to take games by the scruff of the neck, and we could be in a much healthier position if only we had shown that little bit more quality.
Oh, absolutely. How many games this season? I think back to the 0-0 against Huddersfield at home, the 0-0 against Luton at home. And at the time, the game finished, and I spoke to a good friend of mine, and we'd sort of like, I'll take a point. But then the problem is you sort of look back and you sort of go, you know what, that it was almost like we were sort of trundling along, and we did the live watch along, didn't we, against Millwall, and we won that game. And that was at the back end of some of these good draws. And I felt like, we went 8 games unbeaten and we thought we've cracked it. It's almost like, we've cracked it. And then suddenly we've gone back to conceding very sloppy goals, not scoring. And it is a concern. I agree with what Glenn said about, I feel like we've gone away from what we did last season. And I feel like we're sort of, it's like today we try to play safe, but we still were doing risky passes out of the back. And I'm thinking it just didn't seem to work. Like, I just think, like, Dino, when you were watching it today, when we picked up the ball with Fads, why were we bypassing the midfield? Like last season, we never did that. We went to Liam Walsh, we went to Kelly, and we tried to go forward to the next 2. Today, we just launched it over the top to Biamu. And I'm thinking, he worked hard again, but how were we trying to play today, Dino? When you were watching it, what?
I think Danny makes a good point here. Like, we can't play the same sort of League One style because we keep getting found out, which is true, and we need to progress and change stuff up. But when you're playing teams like Blackburn, who are void of any real quality for me, they're a really mid-table, mediocre side in this division. I just feel like we've got enough to match them. I know they're established and they've got some good players. Of course they have. Every team's got good players in this division, but we just lack that little bit of ambition. And I know we're away from home and, people can say it's a good point. It is a good point. We're not saying anything other than it is a good point, but there's that spark that we just need to, produce. And we have opportunities to do that. And it's not happening. It's really annoying.
I got asked the question because I was thinking I wasn't feeling good about this game after the Swans game. And I got a message sent to me saying, when would you pick to play Blackburn Rovers? At the start of the season, they were flying. They've lost 5 games in a row. Their confidence is shot. We should have got after them. And for the 10 minutes we did. And then we just let them back in the game. And we let them off the hook. We gifted them a goal. They should have been 3-0 up at half time. We then got a goal. And you're thinking, right, they've been conceding goals lately. Let's go on and win the game. And we just didn't. And it was like we were like happy for the point. And people can say, look, when we went down to 10 men, we were hanging on. Fine. Mm-hmm. But before that, we didn't try and win the game. I felt like we were hanging on from the moment we equalised.
Definitely. Listen, that's the end of that barren run of fixtures we had. Started with Watford, Cardiff, Norwich, Brentford, Swansea, Blackburn. We've come out of that with 5 points from those 6 games. I suppose, look, listen, from the start of it, we all said if we can come out with 5-6 points over those 6 games and be outside of the relegation places, it'd be an absolutely great way to get out of February. I suppose we've done that. So we've got to be pleased with that, right?
We've got to be pleased with it. I agree. The one thing that we haven't done all season, which I think we need to change, is we haven't won back-to-back games.
Yeah.
And I feel like a back-to-back wins would do us the world of good. I mean, look at Forest. I think we are a by far better team than Forest. Both times we played them, I'm sick to death of Forest. I cannot believe we didn't get a single point against them. Look at QPR, 4 wins on the trot. I mean, I actually think those teams on 40 points, I think they're safe. I think they'll pick up enough points between now and the end of the season. I genuinely think it's out of the bottom 6.
But you look at those teams, it's QPR, Forest, Blackburn, all established championship clubs. They know how to grind out wins, grind out the draws when they're down and out. They've all been here and done it in the past. And we're a team lacking experience at this level. But still, like you say, we are a match for the likes of Forest and QPR for sure in regards to quality. But maybe it's just that nous that we're missing.
Well, absolutely. And at the time, earlier in the season, I highlighted the Luton draw and the Huddersfield draw at home, where we're supposed to be, we're the home side. We've got a good record at St Andrews, and we drew 0-0 with both of them. You look at where they are. Luton are on a poor run, Huddersfield as well. And you're thinking, I mean, we've got them both to play again, but our away form is shocking. And that is what concerns me, Dino. Our away form. We've won 2 games. I mean, we're going to have to win. We're going to have to win away from home. Rotherham is away from home. Huddersfield is away from home. Yeah. Luton's away from home. We're going to have to pick up some wins somewhere along the line.
Yeah, Carl saying here, wasn't able to watch there, but came on to hear about how it went. I'm really surprised to hear such negativity. Point today with Rotherham and Wednesday losing was good. When we win our game versus Rotherham, that'd be their relegation settled. Listen, already negatives. There's nothing negative about getting a point away from home. That's a fantastic return. Obviously, we're not disputing that. It's because we have opportunities to pick up more than the 1 point. That's probably where the negativity comes across. You say you didn't watch the game today. For that first 15, 20 minutes, we were superb. Absolutely superb. Yeah. We hit the bar in 20 seconds. Biami forced a good save out the keeper at full stretch. McCallum had a free shot and goal. Dabo was through on the right-hand side but miscontrolled it. Those little opportunities we had, that's where the negativity comes from, that we didn't capitalise on those.
No, we just stopped and that was it. It's all good having a 10, 12-minute spell, but you can't win a football game from 12 minutes of good stuff. And it was like we did that and went, oh, okay, that's good enough. And then we literally just sat off them. I thought, I mean, it was like Tony Mowbray just switched it round and then they found us out and they were like, oh, yeah, we know what Coventry are doing. And we had no answer to that. And I'm thinking, and then we obviously conceded. And I agree, I'm not negative about getting a point against Blackburn. I'm looking at the game thinking, I feel fortunate. I feel like we were fortunate to get a point today.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll take it, but I feel like more often than not, it was basically a similar performance in Swansea. And we lost that game, and we've lost lots of games this season playing like that.
I suppose it's really annoying as well because you look at that game against Brentford. We were absolutely superb. The press was fantastic. Some of the passing play was great. It was a great team performance. I mean, I gave man of the match to the whole team for that game. They were superb, and it's that just shows what we can do as a team. And when you put our performances that we have in the last couple of games, it's just frustrating because we could be so much better. We are so much better, but we're just not showing it week in, week out. And I know it's difficult with back-to-back games and stuff, but you still have to perform and show effort and intent.
I just felt like we beat Brentford, and I think almost the players were surprised. We were pleasantly surprised. It's almost like then we went, okay, then we can just rest off Swansea. It doesn't matter if we don't get anything. I want us to go there and beat Swansea, get a result today, and we go, you know what? We've got an extra 3 points on the board. We're on 38 points. We need 12 points to survive. And instead, it's like, because look, I mean, Wickham, I see a lot of fight from Wickham.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? And they put all these sort of slightly irritating tweets of we're not giving up and all this. But Dave Moore, SkyBluesExtra, he said in the group chat about, I didn't see enough fight. I agree. I felt like we were going through the motions today.
That's the least I expect from a Coventry City side is to fight and show some desire and passion. And I just thought the last 2 games, we've just lacked that.
Well, that 2-on-1, Dino, that 2-on-1, where was I thought that was the moment. That's the moment. Win the game, punish them, win the game. And it was, I can't believe what I watched. I was like, That reminded me of my Sunday League days when it was just we were the worst team in the world. But yeah, it was not good.
A lot of people are asking what you feel like we need to stay up points wise. Danny's asked that, and Mark's asked that. What do you feel like the target is now? Because I mean, originally I thought the target would have been 44, but the way it's looking, teams are beating each other, and it's not as jam packed down there as I'd like it to be.
Well, so what? We've played 33 games. We've got 13 games remaining. I think if we can get to 50, I think we're safe. I think 50 will be enough.
That's more than a point a game for you.
Yeah, man. I think we need to win 4 matches. I think if we win 4, that would take us to 47, and then if we get a draw or 2, that's what I think we need. I think we need 4 wins and a couple of draws.
Yeah, for me, a point a game is the minimum we need to achieve. So that will take us to 48.
40. I agree. I think 48 could be enough. Yeah.
I think Wickham and Wednesday, for me, looking at Wednesday's running, it's very tough. Same with Birmingham. Birmingham had a really, really tough run in now towards the end of the season. But I think we're literally playing for that one place now, the 22nd position for me.
Well, Dino. Look at the table, right? The stat that stands out to me is losses. We've lost 14 matches, right? Rotherham have lost 18 matches. So they've played 2 games less than us. They've lost 4 more games, but they've won the same amount. We've not won enough. I mean, Rotherham have drawn 5 games. We've drawn 11. And that is our biggest problem. I feel like we've accepted points, a bit like what Glenn said. We've accepted points and we've gone, okay, it's a point, but we've not won enough. And that's the problem.
Does that show that we're not good enough to turn those draws into wins?
No, I think we were good enough in that. Or we were good enough had we actually gone for it a bit more. I feel like some of those draws, that Huddersfield game was drab. That 0-0.
It's kind of a negative approach then in that respect.
I feel like that was in the run where we were being a bit more pragmatic, wasn't it? We were sort of, it was like we were being pragmatic. We were keeping clean sheets, and it was almost I felt, it's at the expense of, we're not scoring enough. But actually now we've continued not to score enough, and our goals against have crept up again, and it's made it a bit, I don't know, squeaky bum time for me, I'll tell you.
So let's look ahead then to our next game, which is obviously Tuesday night versus Middlesbrough, 7:00 kickoff. What's your thoughts ahead of that one? They're an odd side, aren't they, Middlesbrough? Sometimes they'll be world beaters, and the next they'll be relegation candidates to an extent. What's your feelings on that game?
Well, I just hope we played better than when we played against them earlier in the season. For me, that is still the worst performance of the season when we played them. And then, funnily enough, then the next game was we beat Reading. Do you know what I mean? And I remember that Middlesbrough game. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I feel with a Neil Warnock team, they're effective at what they do.
Yeah.
I want us to take the game to them. There's no point. If we're just going to do what we did today, we'll get picked off from one set piece. Look at Swansea. Swansea needed one good delivery and they scored. And I don't know what's happened to our delivery today. Our set piece, talking of set pieces, it didn't look like scoring at all. Well,
we had that one chance, didn't we, Biamu?
Well, we had that one, but then all the rest of the corners and the long throws and stuff. I see this long throws. I'm thinking, are we? Where's Aaron Gunnarsson? You know what I mean? When was the last time we scored from one of these? But look, I think we can get a win. I believe we can win on Tuesday. But we need to take the game to them. I'd be interested to see what he does team sheet wise. Who would you like to see come back in?
I think Heyman and O'Hare will come back in. For me, it's a game we can definitely win. The thing is with Middlesbrough, they don't keep the ball a lot. They're not very much a possession based team. So, but what they do when they get the ball, they create an opportunity. So that kind of scares me a little bit because if we don't seem to be switched on when we play against a team that lets us come onto them.
Yes, we get lulled into a false sense of security and then 100%. One ball. And the other thing I thought about today is, when we've got the ball in midfield, where are the options?
Options, yeah.
Like you were saying about Blackburn, they can pass, and Glenn said it. They pass and you go, oh, there's the next pass for him. Like I'm watching it going, oh, he's going to pass to him. We get the ball, I'm thinking, where's the other red shirt? And inevitably, we just have to go backwards. And so I agree. I feel like I'd go a back 4. I'd just go for it. We need to pick up a win. I don't care. I'd rather us win and lose like that. Win, lose, rather than draw, lose, draw. We need to win matches. Come on.
Yeah. That's the only way we're going to stay in this division is we win some matches now towards the end of the season. We'll wrap things up there, Ross, for today's Sky Blues Extra Live. Really appreciate your comments as usual. Sky Blue Army, the podcast will be out on Mondays. We dive deep into the Swansea result and obviously today's result versus Blackburn. We'll be back Tuesday night with another Sky Blues Extra Live. Hope you can join us then. In the meantime, stay safe and play on Sky Blues.